Hi everyone, today is July 19th, 2023, and are at 1 Kings chapter 3. The first word that comes to many people's minds when we think about King Solomon is the word wisdom, and today's chapter explains the very reason why. Through a dream, God approaches Solomon, and he tells Solomon that he will give whatever Solomon asks for. And out of all things, in verse 9, we can see that Solomon asks for wisdom and understanding to rule over God's people. And then a little later on in verse 16, God gives Solomon an opportunity to practice his wisdom and put it to use. Two women come to Solomon with a problem. Now, these two women lived together in the same house, and they both had a baby around the same time. Unfortunately, one of them passes away, and one woman accuses the other of switching the baby in their sleep. Now, hearing this, Solomon makes a very shocking decision. He demands that he be given a sword, and he decides to cut the baby in half so that each woman can share it equally. In the end, one woman basically agrees with Solomon's decision, while the other one begs for the baby's life, and that's how he was able to tell between the true and false mother. Now, a lot of us grew up hearing this whole story, grew up hearing the fact that Solomon prioritized wisdom and that we should do the same also. But we might wonder, why do we need to seek wisdom in our everyday life? And to answer that question, I want to draw your attention to the very last verse of today's chapter. It is verse 28, and it says, "And all Israel heard of the judgment that the king had rendered, and they stood in awe of the king, because they perceived that the wisdom of God was in him to do justice." Wisdom draws us near to God, and it also guides us so that we can live our lives in a way that is pleasing to God. But something that this verse 28, also revealed to me today is that wisdom is vital when showing God's character. In high-stress circumstances and difficult situations, the world will turn to anything in order to resolve that issue, and it doesn't really remember the most important thing, whether that decision is glorifying to God or not. But as Christians, it's so important that we are wise and we choose to chase over wisdom and seek it, because in all that we do, we can leave those around us in awe because they can see God's character working through us and God's wisdom guiding our every decision. So I really hope that today's chapter and journey served as a reminder of how vital and crucial wisdom is in our lives, especially as Christians. I thank you all so much for joining today's journey. I hope that you guys had some takeaway from it, and I'll make sure to see you guys again tomorrow with the next chapter. Bye!